We can edit this whole part. Okay, we're going to start now.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, everyone. This is Elizabeth Cordero again, and LouAnn Ramson. She's our guest today. We've been sending messages out to the world to encourage others in these changing times, uncertain times for everyone. And I wanted to tell you my story with her. I've known her for a few years now, and she's been my mentor. She's helped me get the confidence that I didn't have before. I feel very, very special to be sharing this time with her. I was very happy that she accepted my invitation to be on YouTube. I believe this is your first time.
It is.
And I feel very honored to have her because she has changed my life. And so I wanted the world to have the same beautiful messages that she's able to share with us through her readings and through her Reiki also. Yes, I believe Reiki is very important. I remember going to you on a Reiki session and feeling extremely sad. And then after I went out of there, I kind of wanted to cry just because I was sad. But then I couldn't because I had so much peace. It was this beautiful peace. It just allowed me to be peaceful and happy. That was such a beautiful feeling from the Reiki. And so I feel that you're very talented with what you do. And so I wanted to tell us a little bit about how you started to do these readings. When did you realize that you had this gift and that you wanted to share with others? So tell us a little bit about that story, how you started doing that.
Okay, well, to make a long story short, I was blessed enough to have two grandmothers. That one was very religious, Pentecostal, and the other one was a medium who talked with the spirits and had seances and let people talk with their guides. She used ectoplasm to do this. I attended my first seance when I was 5. I attended my last seance before she passed when I was 22. And so I did talk to my guides, and they did give me information to keep moving forward. There were going to be things that I was going to learn that I did not know of at that time, which my children were little at that time. And so it was all about, keeping us supported and everything. But when I would go to church with my grandma, I would feel that I was going to grow up to be a preacher. So then after I had known both sides of the spectrum and was aware of both sides of the spectrum, I noticed as I would grow up, mostly at times that you're alone, that I would sense things and feel things. And so I kind of thought, wow, why am I feeling these things I can't see, but I know that they're there. And so years passed, I raised my children and met another lady who I went to for a reading, and it was a very devastating time in my life. And she told me that I had 3 guides. One was taller than the other 2, which I had already seen and talked to because of my grandmother. And she asked me if I knew that I had a great ability in using those skills and having that psychic ability. And I told her I had been aware of it. I really had never gotten into using it. It had been about raising my children, but as a single parent, and a lot of the time. And so she said, if you want to learn how to, enhance those abilities, I will take you with me when I go to places to do readings. And she said, the thing I'm getting told by your guides is that you learn by watching. Oh. And I said, I do.
Oh, that's sweet.
So I learned hands-on. I can learn textbook, but anything hands-on is much easier for me. So that's why she offered to have me go with her and observe, because she thought I would learn much quicker that way than in any written text,
Who was your first person that you read?
Oh, my first person that I read, I remember the scariest person that I read was my mother, because I didn't know how she would take to it.
Oh.
The first person that I read.
Well, tell us about your mother's story. What was it scary? Because it was somebody from your family?
Because my grandmother that was religious was her mother.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so she had been brought up in that, but she didn't agree with it. But she kind of didn't know if she shouldn't be agreeing with it.
Okay.
But so, and she was also fearful of the grandmother who did the mediumship, because we lived in her house for a while and she did see the spirits. And so she was a little fearful of being taught by religion that that was a bad thing.
Okay.
And so back then, my grandmother was a pioneer in psychic work and talking to spirits and allowing your guides to come and visit you. I mean, that was something that was, supposedly from the Satan devil as far as religion went.
Right.
So my mother was scary for me because I was going to have to show her what I had been doing, and was she going to accept it? Was it going to resonate with her? And what I always rely on, as you know,
Yes.
Elizabeth, my prayers.
Very, very true.
So I prayed and I just said, help me, make this with my mother so that, she understands that. And she actually did. She came aboard my ship and was with me for 10 years before she passed, which I did Reiki over her as she passed with cancer. And also did as you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, when the hospice people came, she said, my girl's got this.
Oh.
So at one point when I had visited her from Utah, I'd gone back to Oklahoma to my hometown, and we were in the kitchen one day, and I said, well, I'm not afraid to die. And she whirled around out of that religious, upbringing she'd had, and said, well, if you're not as scared to die, you got one up on me. And I said, well, the creator I feel I've come to know isn't a creator that would put us in a fiery pit of hell forever and ever. He created us knowing that we were going to be unevolved souls, and that this was something that could evolve forever, an eternity of where we could learn and grow and know and raise our vibration and our consciousness to a level to where we could live in a world that is balanced instead of one that is so ugly over here and so appearing to look beautiful over here. And get people to get more involved with having compassion instead of worrying, like in the depression, like the virus that's going around now. Every century we've had a virus. And regardless of where the theories are that are out there, that they come from and how they're created and what comes about, we live through them. And we have a creator and all the help that he's created for us that is going to help us see it through. This isn't the first, this won't be the last, but we're going to be fine. It's going to get a little rough before it gets better, but when we're in those low points, that's when we reach for the higher points.
That's when we see what's important in life. And I know you've read for my guides, right? I've had readings from LouAnn many times, and they've been great, and they're right on point. It is amazing. I think that the very first time I had it was with the person that taught you how to do it.
It was, yes.
Yeah, and then I remember going the first time, and she telling me all these things that first nobody knew, and I'm like, how does she know all this? And then
a question you get asked a lot, and I just say, I pray. I pray before I do this.
And then all other stuff that she told me in the future, and I'm like thinking, in order for me to know if this is true, the future has to happen. And I'm thinking years are gonna have to happen before I figure if this is true. And it actually happened almost immediately, right? Like 2 weeks into it, and I was like blown away. But more than anything, it has given me hope. But what would you say to people that don't believe about, I have a lot of people that sometimes I see them needing this help because they're in pain, they're suffering. And I want to send them to somebody like you because you're very compassionate. You're not about money, because that's the difference between knowing when somebody really has a gift. They're not after done telling you your truth and then they ask you for $1,000, right? You're just really about helping people. And so what will you tell people that don't believe it? And tell us a little bit more about the spirits and what the spirits have to say for the world and how you interact with them. Because obviously they're in a different vibration that not maybe all of us can see, but we're not prepared for that, or we're not, we haven't gone through the right steps to do that.
Well, and, we can't see electricity, but we can see the results of it. So that's kind of how I look at that aspect of it. We can't see our spirits with our physical eyes, but we can see the results of what we ask for help from, whether it's from the unconditional loving creator, God, Buddha, whoever your deity is, Mother Mary, Jesus, the Holy Spirit. We can see the results from that. And there's a lot of talk about manifestation. With my prayers, I also do the manifestation. I thank God for what I want, and I see that final result, and I know it's going to happen in the best way that's in my highest good, because that's what I asked for.
Okay.
So and it does, the important stuff does,
Yes.
it comes about. And so what I would have to say to people to give them hope is, and for people that don't believe, because I have people in my life that also, I believe in something, but I don't know what it is. But the creator, I feel the creator created everything in a way that we are protected. We have an auric field. We have energy bodies. We have many blocks to get through before it can finally get to us in a physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual level. But for those who don't believe, I say try it. Experience is the best
at
teacher.
least one time, but with you. They had to try with you. I'm very careful when I say people try it.
And I always try to encourage people to, if there's someone there, since they're having a hard time in this area, or maybe they haven't come to that point in their evolution. If there is somebody up there, I'm going to go try this to see if it works. I'm asking that you help, that it does work. And then I can at least get acquainted with your energy and know that maybe there's something to this. And I always suggest that they pray, that they go to somebody that will give them that true work, that true reading, truthful, honest, heartfelt reading or healing, kind, compassionate, healing, and there's a thing that goes around now that if you don't charge a lot, you're not very good.
Yeah, that's
that's a bad rap, because like you say, it's the people that have been down to the bottom and through their faith been able to come up to a point to where they now have compassion for so many others, and they want to help. So they come to that call that they feel within. Like I felt as a little girl, I was going to be a preacher. When I started doing readings, and I asked the creator and Jesus and the guides and angels to talk through me to help people, I felt like, this is why I felt like I was going to be a preacher. Because this is the way I'm doing it. Because now I take bits and pieces from religious upbringing, but I also communicate with a higher power. So I have a combination of things that I can pull up on and let the guides tell me about to relate to that person, because everybody is so unique. Everybody has gifts. Nobody is more better than anybody else. Some may have their gifts more
in tune,
and where they're more fluent or whatever. But I always really suggest to people, ask for help, to be led to the person that can help you.
And one of the things I really love that you taught me is, when I'm praying for someone, I'm praying for their highest good. Right. And so for myself, if I'm praying for something like you're telling us right now, to pray that is in our highest good. And I learned that so much from you, that every time I pray for a thing, it's like, if this is for my highest good, please help me achieve it. Right. And that's very beautiful to think about that.
And it's very hard, Elizabeth. You did very good, because that is very hard. That's like giving over your control that we all think we have so much of.
Especially when we pray for others.
Yeah.
It's hard.
And so, but when we're wanting something really bad, and we end that prayer with, if you see it to be in my highest good and the highest good of all. And some people will pick up the first one if it's in my highest good, but then they're like, well, I don't know if I want to pray if it's in the highest good of all, because I might not get it, you know. So, you know, but I just felt like instead of me making the decision and maybe having to go through something a little more harsh than what I would have had to had I called for help first, or get the right person first that can zero in on what I'm going to them for, then it kind of, at first it was a little difficult, but then it started putting me at ease that I had someone that was with more wisdom than I had to help me and guide me to the people and take me to the places and help me give to others in a way that would be beneficial and in their highest good as well as mine and everyone else's, because we need to raise this whole consciousness of everyone to bring this world up into a balanced state. It is very unbalanced. And you know, it's the ugliest of the ugliest, or the, you know, most beautiful of the most beautiful, but we need to get that balance so everyone can feel love, compassion, caring, want to help, be there, be our best potential that we can be at our soul evolution at this time.
Yeah, and I feel like love is our highest vibration. And I feel like a lot of us are lacking that, because I see people that go months, they live on their own, they go months without hugging somebody. And in fact, our society teaches us like to be away arm's length of someone, right? But I feel there's so much beauty in telling somebody, hugging them and telling them, you know, somebody loves you, and sharing that love. And I'm all about telling people, hey, be your best citizen, be your best thing. But when it comes to love, it's only when you within yourself can receive it that you can give it to others. And then raising the vibration by helping each other. Because what happens right now, I feel a lot of what's going on is a lot of greed. Like a lot of people is like, I want it all for me.
I mean, the shelves went bare quick, didn't they?
And that's where we're like coming into this. But I'm very, very I became very spiritual after really meeting you and you know, meeting the other person that helped you, because for me it just opened a whole new world.
We make a good team.
Yeah,
I'm glad she took me under her wing. We have really got out there and helped, you know, work it. So
yeah, and it's just been a very beautiful spiritual journey, because in the times that I needed the most kindness, you were always there.
Thank you.
It was just this beautiful, soothing feeling to know that I felt that if I went somewhere else, nobody would listen with the same kindness that you did. And that's what makes your readings beautiful. And you know, because you really care for people. But that's why I want, you know, people to know about this. But tell us about, you know, what the spirits are telling us about what's going on right now. Like those
there's nothing new under the sun.
There's nothing new.
And that is in parentheses in the King James Bible. I'm not saying I agree with everything in the Bible. So anybody out there, I'm not trying to preach to you from the Bible. I'm just saying the guides just told me what I've already read before, and there's nothing new under the sun. We've all been through these times before, and we're back here again, doing it again, because we have a God, a creator. We have angelic sources that help us to come back and do it again, because life is infinite and our souls are infinite, and we just need to, you know, we're the spirit living in this avatar physical body to get around here, but our spirit is growing, and by giving to others is a good feeling, and whenever others appreciate that is also a good feeling. So, you know, I think there's a lot to be said for what you were saying, which I kind of lost a little bit of, but there was a question I'm not remembering that you said.
Well, the messages that
Oh, from the guides.
were given
And
to
yeah,
us.
they're just saying that, it's going to be all right. And we're learning to eliminate fear. We're learning to evolve to where we don't have to have that fear. That fear is good for fight or flight, but it can be misused just like any energy that we have in this realm. So, the guides, to me, they just say, keep moving forward. We've got your back. Everything's going to work out. Yes, there's people dying. Yes, there's people hurting. Yes, there's people suffering. This is all part of your soul growth, but it doesn't kill your soul. You may lose your body. You may lose parts of it, but you never lose your soul.
Very, very true and very beautiful. That's in fact, how can somebody communicate with their angels? Can people communicate with their own angels, or?
Most definitely they can, and it does take a lot of practice. In fact, I went and built a campfire to find out my main guide, the tall one. I've got 2 children because I tend to be serious. I really tend to get too serious at times. So I've got 2 children guides that kind of try to lighten me up. And then I've got my main guide. So I went up, and my daughter and a friend, we went up to the mountain, and they kind of stayed down at the bottom as kind of like, we're not letting you go up there and do this by yourself. So I built a fire, and then I asked for my guide's name. Even though I'd seen them, I didn't think to ask for their names. And their names are so not from this world. If we knew how to spell them and write them out, which I did the best I could, I felt like I got an answer, but how close it is, I'm not sure. But, I just kept going over and no. And then I erase it, and with a stick, I rewrite the name or letters that I felt like he was giving me. And what I wound up with was Epinichi.
Oh, it sounds like a Native Indian too.
Yeah, and I am Native American blood. I have Choctaw, Cherokee, and Choctaw, Cherokee, and there's one other. But anyway, so I do go along a lot of the Native American beliefs as well. Okay. My grandfather actually saved me when I was leaving somebody at one time. I was moving. I had a U-Haul. A friend of mine didn't want me to leave ahead of her. She wanted me to wait for her. I felt a great threat coming to me, and she asked me to go with her to visit a friend that was a couple of blocks away to give her a message. I went with her. It turned out to be a psychic who worked on detective cases back from my place that I was born in, Oklahoma. Wow. And she looked at me and she said, "Honey, did your grandpa die when you were very young?" Oh. And I'm like, "Yes, he died when I was 10 months old." And she said, "Well, he is here, and he will not let me finish telling about what I'm doing until I warn you. You have to get out of the place you're at, and you have to get out of there tonight." I said, "I'm actually packing my U-Haul right now." Wow. And she said, "He's got a switchblade." Well, he had come and showed me and the friend that I was with 2 days before that his new switchblade. Oh. And so my grandpa came through and told her, and he said, "I want to give her a Cherokee blessing through you." So through this white buffalo woman, Katie Crow, she was very good. She's very elderly now. She has stopped doing this, but she gave me a Cherokee blessing from my grandfather to protect me on my journey.
Oh, that's a beautiful blessing. And so obviously she's not.
So it's not just your guides or the angels. Heck, talk to your people, your ancestors. All of them are there to help us.
Very true, very true. And I know that you usually are very good at lifting people from situations. I keep seeing these people in pain, and maybe it's because we're supposed to talk about this, but what would you say to people that are going through painful moments right now?
This too shall pass. Everything passes, but it comes back around. Life is a cycle, and we're going to go through those cycles. So God won't give you any more than you can endure, would be what I would tell them.
And tell me about faith. And tell me first.
And some people's going to say bullshit, because I know people that have died some pretty ugly deaths. But still, at some point, I think the Creator lets us be relieved of even how it might appear as to how we might be feeling it before. So,
Okay. And yeah, and yeah, and I feel that it's one of those things where if people understood spirituality, this is my personal belief that if people study spirituality more than anything else, they would come to understand that we're here to experience that. We choose to experience. For me, it was hard to accept that concept.
Oh, it is very hard to accept that concept. I didn't know if we would touch on that.
Yeah, and that's very beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
because you taught me that.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's really that I had chosen, and I just feel like.
And people right now that I live with are saying, "I did not choose to be sick like this." You know, it takes a while to grasp that. So, but actually, it makes so much sense. Like I'm saying, from what I've gathered through my life and my teachings and what I've gotten, the Creator does no harm or nothing negative, punishing us, making anything hard for us. Only good for our highest good. But some of us are too stubborn to want to get past our ego, our control. We control to ask for help.
Yeah.
And so they live this difficult life.
And I think one of the things that did happen to me is that when I thought that when I was doing a lot of work, sometimes I want to say that I forgot that God existed, because I was so busy just going.
That's why I said it's usually when we're in a down place when we finally reach up.
And that's when you realize, oh my gosh, God, please help me out. But we should be aware of that and grateful of that every single day, because like you said, God is within us, right? And I strongly believe that He is a good Father, and He wants to help us in whatever form people want to believe, whatever energy they want to believe, is here to help us in every way. I read this book that talked about we are the only creatures on earth that we believe there's not enough abundance, that we are the only ones, but all we need to do is ask for it. And right, and we're so blessed beyond what we can imagine. We're, in a way, we're spoiled. I want to believe that. But talk to us a little bit about people that struggle with faith, because I know faith is difficult because you don't see right now. And I love what you tell me. Like you told me once, you order in the mail, you send it, and now you're just waiting to receive it. For me, that was life-changing, because I was like, oh my God, that's so beautiful.
And that's kind of what I do with my prayers now. I say my prayers, my gratefuls first, what I'm grateful for. Thank you for all this. Then I put in, okay, and I would like to see my life change in this way, this way, this way. And if these are in my highest good and the highest good of all, then I ask for your help in helping this to come about. But as far as the, and then I say, now I'll do my part with you by, I'm seeing that this was delivered, that this was, if it is in my highest good, this is delivered. I am excited. Thank you for helping me. I always see that outcome. I don't worry about what's in between. I don't worry about how I'm going to get whatever I'm asking for. I just know that I'm going to, if it's in my highest good, and I feel happy because it was, and I got it, and it's great.
You're already receiving it.
Right. As if you've already received it. That's the whole key. But a lot of times people dwell on, the more you dwell on, I want this, the further away it kind of goes, because you're not having faith. You've already requested it. It's already on its way. And if it's not in your highest good, there's going to be something else that's going to come along that's going to suffice what you thought you were asking for, but in a different way.
Very true. And I think for me, it took the form of relationships. Before, I used to think that when somebody left my life, oh, I was devastated. Now I feel like, oh, they didn't deserve me. It took a lot of coaching from you.
Like you were saying, I got off that track of, before we come here, I have felt like I have been told by the Creator that before we come here, We have soul groups on the other side. There's a lot of books out on there on this stuff. There's a lot of, can be researched and found in many different modalities. Hypnosis, regression of hypnosis is one of the main ones, where people have regressed people back to try to get to the creator. They can't quite get to the creator because the creator is everything. It's all of us. It's in everything. It's the whole essence of the higher vibration. So trying to find the creator, good luck. But, asking for his help and getting that help, it's going to be delivered. And so that's why they say sometimes unanswered prayers are the best prayers, because sometimes you might pray for something and then find out that, oh my God, this isn't what I wanted.
Correct.
Correct. I mean, sometimes you might pray for a lot of money and your mother dies and leaves you her inheritance. Well, you didn't want your mom to die for you to have that lot of money. So even if I ask for a lot more money and help me get past that, money is the root of all evil thing. It's just another thing, a material thing in this life that we use to get around and do things with, So, but I feel like that, okay, we're gonna have to cut this part. Where was I at?
I know, I'm sorry, I'm thinking about the next question. It's okay, we'll cut it. But we were talking about
and when we contract and we come here, and I've had people get very upset with me and say, oh, so you're saying it's okay that these children are getting molested? You're saying it's okay that this rapist does this stuff? I'm saying, no, I didn't say it was okay. I said it's an experience. It's not going to damage our soul. It's not, nothing can damage our soul. God is our soul. We are part of that back and forth. So that's not going to get damaged. But when we cross back over, we know that, there's a story I used to tell. And it was, all these people were getting ready to come down. They heard the call. We need help down here on planet Earth. We need to help raise the consciousness of the whole population to a higher level so that we can live happier and freer and have more joy in our life. And so the spirit said, well, I need someone to come down and teach me, do something so bad to me that I will need to learn forgiveness. Oh, no. None of the spirits wanted to do that one. No. And the spirit was like, please, I really need to, learn to forgive. And so finally another little spirit came up and said, I will do it for you. And this other spirit that was asking for that said, you will? I'll do anything for you. And they said, okay, I will do it for you as long as you remember that you love me when I do this thing that is so ugly to you that you will learn how to forgive. You will experience how to forgive, what that feels like, to let go and release and know that it's for our soul evolution. So it happened that it was her father, and he had done her not so good when she was young. Okay. And she got away from him, didn't raise her kids around him. But at one point, it was pulling on her that she had to find him. So she did find him. He was in a hospital and he was dying. And he said, I know I did so terrible. I hope that you can find it in your heart to forgive me. But I can't blame you if you don't. And she replied, I don't know if I can forgive you, but I do know that I love you. So where you see children that are abused by their parents, they never tell. They still love their parents. And until they get older and they start saying, this ain't cutting it no more. But I mean, most children love their parents no matter what, unless they've really, really damaged them to the point to where they can't handle it.
And that's a very hard thing to swallow for a lot of people,
It
right?
is.
If
It
you're not
is.
spiritual, you're not understanding.
No.
People are probably hating, like, that
Yes.
is not possible, that is wrong.
Yes.
And we're not saying it's right. It
Yes.
is still wrong. In our society, it still is, but deep inside, we're looking in the soul, like what goes beyond.
Right.
And what are we here to experience? Because
Right.
like you told me, or we are here to experience, like our story was written before we came here.
Right.
Like
right.
we agreed to meet
Right.
and have
Right.
this
Right.
And you know what? I am very grateful, because sometimes
I am as well.
sometimes I think, like, I used to believe that it was bad, somebody, reading this stuff for you, like, but I thought, no, if it's happening to me, it's because God is allowing it for me to happen, and to have maybe more information that most people, because I'm open to it, and I believe, and I was very lucky to find you on my path, and I consider you like a mother. I always see this very, 4 women in my life, and you're one of them, very strong presence in my life. And but then that takes us to letting people, understand about spirituality, and hoping that they will find a way to that path. But tell us a little bit about what's like on the other side, because I bet people are like, does it really exist? Is there really life about after death?
There are, and there are groups over there, and there are libraries over there. There are huge TVs. There are council. When we go back over, we feel the pain that we've caused anyone and everyone.
I know, you told me.
And that is in itself, that is a big soul growth, So then when we feel those things, well, you touch that hot stove before you're told it's hot, don't touch it. Well, until you do that, you really don't know what that hot is. So until we experience the ugly things, even with the good things, we're not going to know what those are. And so at some point, our soul starts saying, okay, well, now we've done a lot of fun stuff. What else is out there? And so then we come in, we go through some of these things that are very ugly, very hurtful, very harmful. But on the other side, we have guys that greet us. The Native Americans believe a family member greets you. That could be. But I've been told that we are greeted, and that we are kind of told, okay, you're here. We're going to, go. You've been through your rite of passage. You felt what your soul needed to feel from that lifetime. Now we're going to go before the council, and we're going to let the council tell you where you succeeded on the things that you went down there to accomplish.
But don't we feel the pain already when we're here? Why are we feeling it there too?
But we don't feel it to the extent because of all the external commotion and things that are going around constantly in our life.
Is there anything we can do to make it better? Like, people, please forgive me. Now I'm worried.
Really, forgiveness, they say, is more for us. We can ask somebody to forgive us. That doesn't mean they're going to. But the forgiveness is that we feel bad. Yes, we want to be forgiven. But guess who has to forgive us?
God.
Us. God is in us. We have to forgive ourselves. And that's a tough one. That's a tough one, but that's where we need work. That's what's called work. People have this idea of work just being labor and hard and all this stuff. No, there's a lot of inner work, that spiritual work that evolves our souls. Our bodies are going to wear out. They're like clothes. But our soul isn't.
It's going to always.
So, the work that we do a lot of times is our inner work, our prayer. Show us that you exist. If you're a non-believer, show me that you exist. Give me a sign. I'll tell you what sign to give me. And I'll tell you, they'll give you that sign. They will give you that sign.
Very true. I actually prayed one time when I was debating a very important thing in my life. And I heard this from another person that told me, you ask for something specific. And I prayed to have a flower in my hand, and I prayed for a specific color. And I went to pick up somebody at the airport, and they brought me flowers with that flower and that color.
Oh,
and I even asked to be put in my hand, and they handed them to me.
See?
That was the sign that
yeah.
I need to continue with what I was praying for. But how do we?
And we have soul groups up there, so we get counsel before we even come down here. When we go back, we get told, okay, well, you know what? You got into the Reiki, so you got into your healing that you wanted to learn about and experience how that felt, how that energy felt, how it helped that person, you know, or you got into this or you got into that. And but and then before, what were you just saying about
before the
when we go back?
How when we cross, why we feel the pain? Why do we?
And again, that's just to reiterate in our soul. You know, we could feel the pain in our mental, our physical, our emotional. When we've done something and we know it, it feels bad to us. We know,
Right, we've done wrong.
So that we've done something that has hurt or caused pain. You know, so we can be sorry, but we can be sorry in this 3D. But when it comes into the soul, yes, we can be sorry there too. But when we cross and we're really going back to, then we really integrate so that it never leaves us. It's there. We don't have to learn that again. We don't have to go through that again.
Are we only feeling pain, or are we feeling something else when we're being on the other side? When we get to feel what we've done, do we only get to feel what
on the other side, we're relieved. On the other side, you and me are going to be high-fiving each other. Hey, we did it. We met up. We did what we said we were going to do, you know, and when we did it, you know, so we're high-fiving each other. And, you know, the groups, our soul groups, there's many groups up there, and we might use somebody from another soul group to be at the 7-Eleven, or we might use somebody, you know, but we have different soul groups up there. And so people that you're around, like your immediate family, people that you're around, your friends that have been long-term, they are usually part of your, they're correcting me on usually, they are part of your soul group. Those are the ones that are definitely in your soul group, and you help each other to go to experience what you need to get that soul evolution. So when we get back over, we get to go before the council. They tell us what we did. They tell us, okay, you know, you kind of felt a little shy on this, so if you wanted to, you know,
you can go back and experience that.
You can, you know, work on that one on your next round. Before we come here, they tell us, I don't know, that's an awful lot that you're biting off there. I don't know if you want to for sure going to go through all that. But sometimes I think we just think we're such badasses, we can do it.
And once we're here,
once we're here, we're like, ooh-ah, you know, but this too shall pass, and we're going to make it through it.
Wow.
You know?
A lot of things.
And everything does pass. Yeah. We've had all these viruses all the time on this earth. We've had all these plagues. We've had all these things. They always pass.
Very true.
And we move forward. And that's what it's all about. We continue to spiritually move forward. If we wish not to, this is a free will zone. We don't have to believe. When we go back over, we're going to be going, wow, I lived a life of an atheist pretty good. I mean, I really did not believe. It doesn't make you a bad person, and it doesn't give you off limits to a good place when you cross over.
It's what you
experience. Correct. Yeah, for your soul growth.
Is there anything, obviously we're here to experience something that we've chosen to experience, but is there anything we can do to make things better, right? When I have done something to somebody else, obviously I have chosen that experience, but as I become more conscious that I did that and that I hurt somebody, is there anything I can do to make it better? For example, people that have killed someone.
Again, the guides are telling me to tell you or remind you that, yes, be easy with yourself. You were ignorant. And there's also telling me we can only do the best we can with what we have at the time.
Very true.
So if our soul is not evolved enough at that time, or if we made a pact with another soul, that we would do that for them. See, if the more we get deeper into it, the more we can lighten up and say, wow, I mean, really, so, when we feel that pain going back over that we caused ourselves or somebody else, that is a theory. That is something that I've read and researched a lot. But, in my very depth of my being, I don't know that we can know until we remember who we are as a soul.
Oh, wow.
So, when we go back, I don't feel the pain as like a human would think of the pain as. I think it's just a recalling of these things and how, how it made you feel, so that when you go back over and your counsel's before you and they're saying, okay, what do you want to go down and experience this time? And we'll give you our, what we think, if and we have so much energy too, a certain amount of energy. We leave a little bit back there.
Okay.
We come with so much energy. When that energy is depleted, that's when we go back and we reconnect with the energy we left there that is still of the holiest of the whole.
Why do we choose to come in the first place? Why do we say we want to experience?
The call of the people and the souls down here trying to help raise the love and the vibration, the compassion, the caring, the giving, and all that. So we answer to the call. We answer to the call to come, say, okay, I'll go down and I'll help. And while I'm there, this is what I'm going to choose to experience for my soul growth. But I will go down there and I will be one of those that will try to help, or they're correcting me on try. I will do my best that I have with what I have at that time in my soul evolution to help people to raise their consciousness to a level that it's a win-win for everyone.
Very true. Very true. So not only we choose to help, but also help ourselves.
Right.
And in that exchange is where we grow and learn.
Right. And that's why whenever people charge for readings or healing modalities or whatever, it's an exchange of energy so that no one gets depleted trying to help the other one.
Correct. It's like no different than anything else that we do. We have that exchange. We work, we get money, we I don't know.
Or we get canned food, or we get clothes, or we get, but something to exchange so that one person isn't giving everything, running themselves empty, and the other person's just taking it, getting all that energy from them.
Yeah, very, very true. Tell me a little bit more about Reiki. For those that don't know what Reiki is, how does it work? Because I know you're really good at that too.
Oh, thank you. Reiki, actually, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia at 50 years old. And your mind's still young, even though your body starts getting older. Your mind, if, you're one of the ones that didn't choose, Alzheimer's or something like that. But I mean, your mind still feels young, even though your body starts to feel the toll of the existence of your time here. But, and I allowed myself, that's another thing, is people want to blame other people for what happens to them. We can't, no. What happens to us, we create.
We chose.
We need to take accountability for that. We chose it before we came. And then we did whatever we needed to do to experience it. What I did was I put my fear in front of my faith. When I got sick, how was I going to take care of myself? Craziest thing, I'd never, ever thought that I would ever think that God will help me find a way. There's always another way. I know that. I've come from the rough of the rough up, and there's always another way. But instead, I bought into this fear of, oh my God, how am I going to take care of myself? And so I did something that for 15 years I regretted doing, because I chose fear over faith.
Yeah.
And I can't even blame who I would have blamed doing it to me because I allowed myself to stay in it. I allowed myself to create the stress that took me to that limit. So that's another message I would like to let people know is really what happens to us, as hard as it is to accept or even think about or fathom. After you do, it really starts to get in your awareness of, we create our own reality, and what we do not only affects us, but others too. So whatever happens to us, we need to accept the responsibility for that. We are the ones that are allowed to start ourselves to get so stressed out that we were labeled with a disease. We're the ones. People ask, how come little kids can have cancer? What did they do? They chose to go through that experience before they came. It's not that they did something bad here. It's not that they were a bad person. Yeah. It's not necessarily the genes. It's not. Sometimes it's just that was one of the experiences they wanted to go through to see what. And the next life they might come back as somebody who finds the answer to get rid of that.
Oh, that's
so from that negative experience that they chose to go through, a positive is going to follow. Anytime there's a negative, there's a positive. If you look for it, you will find it.
Wow, that's amazing. That's crazy. Oh, I wanted to ask you something else, and I forgot. I wanted to ask something. Okay, for people that that touches with fear, and what will you say to those people that have very low confidence in themselves, right?
I would say there's a lot of reasons for that. Again, they need to take ownership of that. They got to quit blaming mom and daddy after they get to a certain age. They can get help for that. We have a lot of, things out here that we can go to for that. So admitting that, but when it comes to the Reiki and, in explaining that is that you just ask the creator and the higher powers, angels, Asui was the founder, to work through you, to run that energy on that person. And really, that's just one modality. Prayer will do the same thing. There's other modalities that will do the same thing, but it's just believing in yourself and that part of God that is within us, or that creator source, or whatever you want to label it, having that ability. And, Jesus talked about that too, just know that you can do that, and you can do that, so, and, a lot of people don't know it, but there are some people that he couldn't heal. And this is where we're going with this. Some people don't want to be healed. Some people are getting a lot of attention from being sick. Some people are getting out of doing things that they're not really motivated, and they probably didn't really come here to be involved in. So being sick is a way out of doing something that somebody else thinks you should do or whatever. But, some people don't want to be healed.
Yeah, I agree with
so,
that.
That's why some people will say, well, why isn't everybody doesn't want to be, so.
What would you say for those people that want to know what they like, when people are having a hard time finding their soul purpose? What would you say is the best thing for them to do to find that purpose? Because a lot of people I see wonder, why is my person?
I think almost anybody that has any kind of religious or spiritualness about them has that question. What is my purpose here? Our purpose here is to experience enough to where we can learn to live in a balanced state. We may need to have dark and light. We may need to have that polarity, but it could be balanced to where it's not overly real, negative, or, overly real, because like you said, you can have all the money in the world. that's not going to make us happy, really.
Absolutely.
It will help us to be happy. But, you know, if we're in a state of mind that is from things that we have endured during this lifetime, that money don't mean stuff. We don't even care if we go anywhere without money, because we're in such a state that's so down and low in vibration. So when you ask me what is our soul purpose, I think all our soul purpose is to experience what we need for our soul growth to evolve, and to help others to help evolve theirs too. Energy exchange. Scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, going back to the old sayings, you know? But I feel like it's for us to continue to evolve and make life happy. And I believe that we're headed to those times. I do feel we're going to go through some more rough area before we get to the happier times. But I do believe we get that reward.
I feel like,
and it's just not on the other side.
okay.
I feel like it's on this side as well.
It's on this side. And so this is taking us to what people are going through. What can we all do as a community, as souls, as vibration, that we're connected? What can we all do to raise the vibration now for everybody else? Because I know some people are extremely fearful, and others are just like trying to, hey, don't. But what can we do to soothe, first of all, our mind, knowing that it's going to pass, right? We know that. But in the meantime, how can we
help with the fear?
Yeah.
Especially of those with young children.
Correct. Yeah.
You know, or
as
animals.
A parent,
I mean, you know, they're like our children too. So, or our family or whatever. But especially, I know this is hard with people with little ones that are dependent on them to make the right choices in their mind, you
Correct.
know. So I think what I've been instructed and guided to do in my search and prayer and such is to, you know, go be cautious, you know, do things that are going to help the whole. I mean, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't help to get germs on our hands and not care if we're spreading it to anybody and everybody. So, I mean, be cautious, wash our hands, you know, try to help the whole, you know, and, you know, some of us are and some of us aren't, because again, it goes back to what we chose to come here and experience. If we chose to be one of those people that are not going to care about, oh yeah, well, I don't see no germs, so I'm going to, you know, go ahead and give them their food without washing my hands. I mean, you know, so, I mean, but what I think what we can all do is just keep your hope. If you don't have hope, you don't have no faith, you don't already have nothing. Without hope, it's hard to keep moving forward.
Very true. Very, very.
And when we stand together, whoever's out there trying to want to control us in our free will zone, whoever it is, we've got higher powers in those same areas. So there's that polarity again. They might think that they're all together and they're going to get us under control, or, you know, keep themselves from running out, which is another thing that they've instilled in this world, is there's not enough of everything. There is plenty of everything, you know. And so, because this really is an illusion, which a lot of people aren't going to understand, but that's a seed I'm planting. Yes, this feels real. Yes, that was very difficult for me when I first heard it. I said, this table is real, but this is an illusion that appears to be real, so that our soul will get the growth that it really actually came for. If we thought of it as a game, oh heck, I'm losing, I'm pissed, I'm quitting this game.
Yeah.
So then we wouldn't continue to evolve.
Okay. Yeah, and it does feel like that for me sometimes, where it's like, I feel like I'm floating. For me, it's a different energy. And that came after I did this spiritual journey, where I felt like, oh, mine is just also an illusion. It's just paper.
Uh-huh.
And then I used to put so much into buying houses and having more. And then I'm like, I'm buying dirt. I'm buying concrete. Like, what am I doing? You know, that doesn't matter. Because if I look back at everything that I've ever done, the only things that I really remember are the moments that I have the most fun, or the most laughter, or the most love, or it's just those little moments that I feel like we all as a humanity have been missing out for money. I stood at one day, I was driving, and I'm seeing everybody just drive by, like going to work every day, same thing. And then I'm thinking, where is the beauty in that? Why is it not everybody going out and exploring nature? So beautiful. And that's what I feel now for me is more of my calling, right? Like healing and helping, but more just.
And by doing those two things, you're helping raise the consciousness of this 3D that we're in now, this third dimension, earth plane area that we're in now. There's many more planes. There's much more to learn.
Yeah.
But we have discussed a lot that a lot of people are going to be saying,
yeah,
no way.
I know.
I think we better go ahead and just let the rest ride for right now.
This is controversial.
Those of you that are interested, you feel the pull to seek out, you feel the pull to prove it wrong, go for it. That's going to be your soul evolution.
Yeah.
That's how you're going to grow. That's how you're going to come to help other people. And we can help other people in very menial ways, just a kind word. We may be late for work, and if a lady's sitting on a bench crying, we stop to help her. When we cross over, they say, you want to know what you did that was so good? It wasn't giving money to all those fundraisers. It was that day you were going to lose your job, you thought, if you were late. But you took a minute to find out if that old lady was okay.
Oh, that almost made me cry. That's very beautiful. Yeah, that's good. But well, so I guess, is there anything else you would like to share? Or should we leave this controversial topic and come back?
We'll come back to it.
I know. I think we're going to have to, because I see
especially since this was my first time, and I don't know that you've only done it very many either. So, hey, this is us. But we're going to love life, and we're not going to fear it. And we're going to keep on moving on and moving forward and praying for everybody else too as well. And that wants to, that's in their highest good and ours.
Yes, and keep like our life purpose, our soul purpose.
Yes, our soul purpose.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, LouAnn. I really appreciate this time. And I hope that a lot of people get to ask questions. Where can people find you if they need to find you for a reading or for answering some of the questions that you just talked about?
They can find me at my email address is Lou, L-O-U, Ransom, R-A-N as in Nancy, S as in Sam, O-M as in Mother 1. That's my soul path number in numerology. A lot of different ways in the spirituality stuff. It's all cool. And at gmail.com.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, thank you so much, LouAnn. I really appreciate it. And bye, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this.
Thank you.
We will come back to video number 2 soon.